Somebody like went over Archetype's visual guide or something like that. This might help a lot. Hey there, Burn Bison. We're trying to like detail and stuff. Alright, just like gonna looking at Dominaria commons, uncommons really quickly. For draft. For sealed or whatever, or pre-release. I'm not gonna take too long on the. Hey, thanks for the raid, Rose. I appreciate it. Hope you're streaming well. Shake my fox at you. I saw you were watching Legacy. That's pretty cool. Or Legacy Pro Tour. That's pretty cool. I was playing on Amonkhet Draft, and my opponents kept playing Glorybringer and Mythics against me. So I need to move away. I need to step away from that for a bit. Alright, so we're gonna like look really quickly at archetypes. Because I don't want to go too long into this. First take what color pairing seems strong. Let's look. See, this is where I wish I had like Sierkovitz, data analysis talent and stuff. So like you can see like this archetype visual guide, I mean I guess it makes sense, like white usually wants to go wide, blue wants to play instants and sorceries, black wants to have things die or recur it, red wants to play things with haste and like active treasons and whatever, and green is like domain. I think domain is in like multiple colors, like the keyword domain is in multiple colors, but you can definitely find like I guess green is probably like the most focused around it. I guess blue-white is not historic, it's like go white and spells. Cause like if you look at the uncommons, that often tells you what each color pair should be doing, right? Right? Like if you just look at the. So let's just go. Let's change the filter and look really quick at like uncommons. So I'm gonna filter rarity to uncommons. That tells you a lot. Yeah. So like this Aeron Benalia's Ruin. This kind of makes you think white-black, make stuff die, but also like go wide, because like it puts a bunch of counters on every creature you control. I mean, that actually seems like a really powerful ability, just because it's not limited to like sorcery speed, and it's also just like a 3/3 menace for 3 is actually not bad, but it also has like an activated ability, and I do feel like there's a fair number of like sack fodder, because there's a bunch of 1/1 token makers that's supposed to like synergize with like your go wide archetype, but it also works in a sacrifice archetype, right? And then there's Baird. It's a 2-mana 2/2 that at the beginning and so you control a creature with power greater than the base power, create a 1/1 white soldier creature token. So this kind of makes you think this is like an equipment strategy or power pump strategy. And it's also like you want to pump your creature so that this triggers and you get another 1/1, and then you can play like another power pump on it or whatever and do stuff. You know. So yeah, red-white usually wants to go wide. Like, this is probably, like, less powerful, but I don't know. I don't know if I want to rate things with letter grades, because I haven't actually played the set, so I don't really know. Is the thing. And then, like, see, there's Balmor Balomage Captain, a 2-mana 1/3 flyer. That's not great stats by itself, but, again, this kind of hints at like a go wide strategy because it's a go wide slash spell strategy. So you need to have both like a reasonable amount of spells and also like creatures to fuel it. Sorry, let me do this really quickly. I might be having a problem with the stream raiders. I think. Oh, I'm wearing a green shirt also, by the way. That's why it looks like I'm fading out of existence. Because I forgot I was wearing a green shirt and the green screen. But I don't know. I'm not going to change it right now. I'm too lazy to go get a different shirt. And we lost Tilt. Give me a second. Where are we at now? We're back here. Okay, so yeah, go wide. This is like 6 mana, 4/4, so it's not actually good by itself, but like you have to look at a 6 mana 4/4 Gravedigger type effect slash reanimation, which is kind of cool if you have like domain. It's like one of the first domain payoffs that I looked at right now. Red got some trample. I think trample and red actually makes sense when you consider how many combat tricks in red give trample, right? So I think you're right that trample is a green primary mechanic, but you do expect to see it secondary in red, sort of like how like I've seen first strike, like red and white, like use first strike, right? And then something like occasionally you see black creatures with first strike, but it's like really rare when you see that. Remember? Like they do sometimes like have a mechanic designated as this is the primary color for it, and then sometimes the secondary and tertiary color. So this is like a domain payoff. It's either Gravedigger, or if you actually have a lot of domain, this is going to get like if you have like 3 or 4 colors, this is basically just putting the creature directly into play, which is actually like a huge tempo swing in your favor. Like, I don't know how good the domain enablers are exactly. Like, I saw that there's actually tap duels that have basic land types. So, like, that could help, right? Like, I don't know. Are the tap duels, like, guaranteed in the packs? I don't know if they are. Like, I should check if they're guaranteed or not. And then here's the Elas Ilkor, a 2-drop 2/2 Death Touch, which is kind of like a it's a little bit like Soul Sister slash Zulaport Cutthroat, but it checks 2 different things. Unlike Zulaport Cutthroat, Zulaport Cutthroat just checked only when things you control died, and this only checks other creatures too. Like, so it doesn't count itself if it dies. Like, you get used to it. But again, this is kind of like the black stuff dying mechanic into, you know, into like go wide, because you need to play a lot of creatures, I guess, because if you're gonna get this ability to trigger a bunch. You're not a fan of the role so far. I haven't seen exactly what the role is. Is the role just playing large creatures and having mana fixing? Because I could believe that. Right? And then there's Garna, it's like a 4-drop 4/3, which is like a fine stat line. It's not great. Like, and this is also like wants you to be aggressive. Because you want to be attacking so that you can get the cards from your stuff dying, and again, black stuff dying, but then also, like, you know, you need to be aggressive to get, like, the cards from it, and then there's also ways, like, you could sack creatures, like, say you attack with a bunch of creatures and your opponent doesn't block, you could just choose to, like, sacrifice your creatures in middle of combat somehow, or whatever, and then do it. Like, it's kind of awkward that there is, like, some sack spells, right, like Bone Splinters, but that's sorcery speed, so you wouldn't be able to do that in middle of combat, unfortunately, but, you know. Oh, there's like multiple uncommons in each color pair, is there? Can I just like filter off multicolor? Because I feel like multicolor, like if you filter off multicolor, that's better. Or can you not do that? I guess, should I just look on Mythic Spoiler? I don't know how to use Scryfall that great. TBH. Because what I would really like to look, I mean, I could look at Legendary, maybe that's better. Super types Legendary, yeah, there we go. Uncommon. The Rakdos gold cards, yeah. I mean, like in, Return to Ravnica, it was like the best. Look, we already found a synergy. This is a 3 Legomo's Hand of Hatred. It's a 3-mana 1/3. It makes a 2/1 with Trample Haste and gets sacrificed. Right? And that has synergy with the Garna because you can start sending 2/1s at them. And they probably, like, either they can make a decision, do they want to block the 2/1 and have it die and let you draw a card, or do they just take the 2, or do they just take the damage from the 2/1? There are some actual 0-power creatures in the format that can block stuff without killing it. I'm gonna change the music because this is way too out of it. Give me a second. That's a lot of stuff. Like, I'm probably not gonna go over every card in the set, because it's just like, it's a little bit too much. But super strong gold if it came to steamroll you, yeah. I mean, I wonder how much people's perspective, I mean, yeah, Rakdos Vampire was pretty good at Midnight Hunt, but I actually wonder how many, of people's perspective is actually, like, based on, you know, playing best of one, right? Because it makes, like, aggressive decks look a lot better, right? Like, aggressive decks look a lot better in best of one. Because of hand smoothing. But yeah, this is a combo. Like, I don't know how likely you're actually going to get, like, the... And this also has, like, a tutor mode if you have activate if only 5 or more creatures died this turn. So if you set up, like, a really big go-wide attack, or you could even just, like if you have a bunch of tokens laying around, you could just throw them away, like, send them into, like, attacks that aren't good, or whatever, just to try and get, like, the tutor mode off on this. And then also, you know... Like, does anyone remember playing in, like, what was it, like, Ingvar 3 Eyes or something? I don't remember what it was. Like, the Inga 3 Eyes? Inga Rune Eyes. I don't know why I thought it was Inga 3 Eyes, but like Inga Rune Eyes, like that card often like ended up drawing like the 3 cards, which is a little scary. Because you play and then like you just set up a bunch of attack. But I mean, you also have to have like the Rune. Oh, the Scryfall command to see the gold uncommons. Okay, that's cool. Thanks. I was just looking at legendaries and stuff, but maybe you want to look at everything gold because it's probably on non-legendary stuff. And then here's like a green-blue legendary Nail Avizoa Aeronaut. It's a lot of words. This is another domain card. So, I mean, like, a 2/4 flyer for 4 is something you'd already play in, like, limited. But, this actually gives you, like, a huge payoff for, like, having multiple domains. And if you actually luck out and you get, like, the full 5 basic types, it's kind of sick. I guess, like, this only... So, this is only giving you, improved card selection. It doesn't actually draw you a card unless you actually have like the 5 basic land. But again, I don't know how easily that is to get, even with common basics. Not common basics, but common duels with land types on them. Right? I think there's an entire cycle of dual lands with basic land types on it. Spoiler. Yeah. Oh, you mean they don't have, like, uncommon gold spells or something? Like, non-creature spells? Oh, I guess, yeah, no, they don't have any gold uncommon non-creature spells or something. That's kind of interesting. But yeah, see, there's actually one for every color pair, like a common duel that just works with domain. I don't know again if you get like multiple, if it's guaranteed to have one in the pack. Does not seem like it, yeah. No, isn't there? Oh, is Primeval's Glorious Rebirth isn't in this set, is it? Maybe it was in Dominaria United Commander or something like that, because I saw like a spoiler for like this card being reprinted, but I guess maybe it's not actually in United. It's probably in like the Commander set, because there was like a new version of that card, like new art on it, like that card I just typed in the chat. But I guess it's probably just like a Commander card only. Alright, let's go back to the other thing. Najal the Stormrunner. So it's 5 mana, 5/4. You may cast sorcery spells as though they had flash. Whenever Najal the Stormrunner attacks, you may pay 2 colorless. Or pay 2, I mean. Generic. If you do, when you cast the next instant or sorcery spell this turn, copy it. You may choose new targets for the copy. So again, this is like an aggression spell thing. With all these cards having like random attack triggers and stuff on them, I'm actually wonder if there's going to be a very play draw dependent format. Now that I think about it, because there's like a fair number of cards it looks like that have like attack triggers, or they do something when you're attacking, or they care about number of attackers, like the Cleaving Skyrider or whatever. Like somebody pointed out, I think that you can use the Cleaving Skyrider because it has flash. You can, well, I mean, it has that flash because it counts specifically creatures attacking at the moment. So like, it has that flash, but like you can also use it in middle of. This is actually kind of a really novel design, this Cleaving Skyrider, because you can actually, if you pay the kicker cost and you flash it in the middle of your opponent's combat, you can actually hit, like, you can do different things. Like, you can hit your opponent in the face, for example, or you could kill one of their attacking creatures. So, like, this is like a 6 mana insane play advantage, yeah. Sorry, I was like thinking about the cleaving Skywriter. I got distracted. But yeah, I mean, I guess it depends on how many good cheap instants and sorceries are. But I mean, 5 mana 5/4 is basically fire elemental. That's not great, but again, being able to cast uh like one thing that's really notable is that like if you attack with this, you can actually cast a sorcery spell in middle of combat and copy it, right? Like say you attack, you pay 2, and then your opponent's like, okay, I block or something, and then you're like, okay, I'm gonna cast this sorcery in middle of combat and copy it, and then that could result in like a really big blowout. Like if there's like a good sorcery to cast or something. I know, like sorcery speed removal spell or something, maybe like bone splinters or whatever may have you. I mean, it seems like a good build around. If you have like enough instants and sorceries, I would not play it. Obviously, like these red-blue cards, like I feel like those are going to be dependent on having like enough instants and sorceries in your deck to play. So like, but I think usually in my experience, when you open like sealed pools, blue tends to have like more instants and sorceries in it than other colors do. But like that's not guaranteed to always be the case. Sometimes you end up in like these sealed pools that are like not great. Over under scooping solely this card. You're talking about the Queen. So we have Queen all in all. It's a 3 mana XX. Hey, thank you for the resub, Blind as Anne Frank. I appreciate it. Shake my fox tail. Fox shake. Thank you very much. Thank you very much for the 2 months. Much appreciated. Hope you've been doing well. I was doing some Amonkhet Drab, and then people in the chat asked me to look at the set really quickly. I'm not doing like a really long review. Oh, the 5/4. Yeah. It's fair. So this is a card that's really dependent on you having like token makers, right? But if you have like token makers, this could actually snowball kind of fast, right? Because it'll just keep getting bigger and bigger. Because like, I mean, yes, you could play this without token makers, but it's probably going to be like a 3 mana 3/3 or a 3 mana 4/4 without token makers. But like token makers is where you want to be if you're making this, because then you're getting like, it basically makes all your token makers like, I don't look at all the token makers in the set, but like if there's like if there's like token makers that make 1 or 2 tokens, I mean it only triggers once, right? Each time you make, like, say if you make 2 tokens, it's only going to add 1 more token. Like if you make 2 tokens with 1 spell, I mean it's adding 1 more token. So it's like basically you get, not only do you get like an additional 1/1, but then it is also getting bigger. So it's like, kind of like an improved version of Shauna from the other set. But I could definitely see that 5/4 being kind of disgusting if you cast like a powerful sorcery in middle of combat. Right? We're looking at Rada Coalition Warlords. So it's a 4 mana 3/3 with Domain. Whenever Rada Coalition Warlord becomes tapped, another target creature you control gets +X/+X until end of turn, where X is the number of basic land types among lands you control. It's like kind of similar to the other Rada. Well, the other Rada just cared the number of lands you have, but it's also rare. But yeah. I also like the fact that this synergizes with Enlist really well, because there's some creatures that have like a become tap trigger on them, and then there's a mechanic called Enlist, where it says whenever this creature with Enlist attacks, you can tap another non-attacking untapped creature without summoning sickness you control. So it's like, it's really like they're trying to be safe. It's just like, oh, like I guess the flavor behind the Enlist is like, instead of having 2 creatures attack, you can have like one creature attack and then the other one gets like a power pump based on the other one. So it's not exactly like the exalted mechanic from Neon, because you can have multiple creatures attack and still do the trigger, but it's like you're basically giving up, like you're like kind of sacrificing like the ability to attack with multiple things to make like one attacker better. And then the fact that this triggers with Enlist is probably better than attacking with it, because I think trying to attack with a 4 mana 3/3 by itself is probably not going to go that great, even on the play, because there's like 3/1s that just trade with it. But if you can throw Enlist in there, this looks pretty good. It's like a Enlist slash domain card. Like, you can play it without Enlist. I'm just saying it's gonna be way better if you have Enlist. And then Wrath, Weatherlight Stalwart. And again, this kind of keys into like the stuff that does things when they become tapped, right? But you also need to have spells to trigger it to be able to tap the things in the first place, right? And like gives you like card advantage and also lets you go wide. So basically, this is like the fixed. This is very similar like Steadfast Unicorn. Do you think Rada is good? I mean, it probably needs like a little bit of. It probably wants a little bit of build around, because I guess like if you aren't building around it, it's just like a 4 mana 3/3 that can like attack and buff another creature by +2/+2. And then you have to accept that like the Rada is probably gonna die in that combat unless you're keeping the board clear or you have combat tricks. So I don't know. It's probably like a better thing when you're on the play, sort of thing, because like it won't trigger on the draw, right? Are there spells that tap a creature at instant speed? That could be a big deal, actually, if there's spells that tap a creature at instant speed. Like, you could use this defensively or something. Like, you say 2 creatures, and then you could like tap this at instant speed to buff your other guy on blocks. I don't know. Maybe not. Maybe I'm thinking of something else. Yeah, you can think of this kind of like Steadfast Unicorn that has like a little bit of spell synergies. Like that actually seems to be like a big theme in this set, is like cards that care about you casting an instant or sorcery, but then also like contribute to being aggressive. Like they do something kind of like aggressive when you cast an instant or sorcery. Well, I guess this isn't really aggressive, it's more value-y because you're drawing a card. But, like, again, this also kind of supports, like, the go-wide strategy. It's like the team pump. And there's Rona, Sholdred's Faithful. 4 mana, 3/4. Yeah, I'm looking at, like, the stat lines, all these uncommons. They don't seem, like, super broken, which is probably like the whole point, is like they're like you really want to get like the synergy going, because like you're not going to play like a 2 mana 1/3 in draft anymore. That's just terrible. Like a 4 mana 3/3 is bad, is actually terrible too, and you know 5 mana 5/4 is not like great, but it's like you need to have like the synergies where they make it work. Like 4 mana 3/4, you don't want to play that. But again, this is also like another instant sorcery thing. I haven't looked at how many instants and how heavy on instants and sorceries you can get in this format. It's probably not like Strixhaven level instant sorcery deepness, you know, like how in Strixhaven you could maybe make a deck that has like, you know, 3 creatures and 20 instants and sorceries. Because like, you know, all the lessons and all the token makers like make up for you, like it makes up for you like not having like creatures, because you're just playing sorcery spells that make tokens. So it's like, because like, normally like in limited you need to have enough tokens in order to actually like, or you have enough creatures to attack or block, because like trying to win with like just pure direct damage and like limited usually doesn't work. So you need to have like the token makers. But what I was like thinking about, like, yeah, this is kind of like annoying to the opponent. Not quite as annoying as like say the Esper thing from New Capenna, like if you sat there for a while, it just like kills you. The Keza. I know that triggers a card draw, but it's like a similar principle. It just sits there and like forces you to like try and do something, and it also has like recursion because you can replay it from your graveyard. I didn't look at how much graveyard hate is in the format either. It didn't seem like there was much, if any, graveyard hate, right? And I also don't know like a 3/4 is like great in the format. You'd have to like look at removal spells, like try and figure out what the key toughness is. Like maybe Sierkovitz figured that out already. Like the key toughness. Like sometimes it's very obvious like what they consider to be the key toughness. Like if you looked at like uncommons, for example, in New Capenna, it sort of made it obvious that like, oh, maybe 4 mana or sorry, 4 health is actually like a key toughness mark. Because like there's a lot of stuff that just dies as strangle, but then there's also like stuff that yeah, the cleaving skydiver does seem really strong and flexible, right? Like you would play, I mean, like a flash 2/2 flyer without the kicker is probably not great, but like if you actually have the kicker, it's just insanely flexible because you can use it during attacks to clear out a blocker. You can use it during your opponent's attacks to like kill one of their attackers. You can also just like attack and then, you know, imagine like your opponent attacks you a bunch of things and then you cast Cleaving Skydiver to hit them for like 5 damage to the face. And then they die. Right? That's actually gonna be funny, like if that ever happens in like a draft or sealed game. If somebody dies, a Cleaving Skydiver because they over-attacked. Like they attacked too many things. They like dice Cleaving Skydiver. I mean, it's not something I don't think you could really play around game 1. But that'd be funny. Let's see. So I was like looking at removal to try to figure out the key toughness marker. I guess probably 4 based on this. If like Lightning Strike is the common red removal. They made red Lash of Malice. You remind me if you died with this how much fun it is. Red Lash of Malice. Yeah, sorry, I was like looking at I kinda got distracted, but what was I looking at? It's like 3. So like, there's some stuff that deals 4 damage, and stuff that does 3 damage. This does like destroys a creature with 4 toughness and stuff. So like if I was like Sierkovitz, I probably would have like thrown out like the abacus and figured out this is the number of creatures that have 3 toughness in the format, and this is the number that don't have it. I was actually still looking at the legendaries. I'm getting a little distracted. Right. And then there's Ruligmon, Warren Chief. So Menace 4 mana, 3/2 Menace. And whenever Ruligmon's Warren Chief attacks, look at the top card of the library. If it's a land card, you may put it on the battlefield tab. If you didn't put a card on the battlefield this way, put a 1/1, create a 1/1 red goblin creature token. Again, like going wide or ramping. And it also has Menace. So again, this is a card that's better on the attack, because like a 4 mana 3/3 Menace, you need to be on the play, ideally with like removal in order to get it in. But like, this still seems very playable. Like, it still seems good. I want to say it's necessarily it's a bomb, but you know, because a 4 mana 3/3 Menace, it's not like super exciting. But again, play draw differential is gonna look really, really good on the play. maybe less good on the draw. Tatiova, Steward of Tides, 3 mana, 3/3. Land creatures you control have flying. Whenever land enters the battlefield under your control, if you control 7 or more land, up to 1 target land you control becomes a 3/3 elemental creature with haste. It's still land. So this is like much fairer than the original Tatiova. Like the original Tatiova is just like a nightmare. Right? The Tatiova Benthic Druid, because it just sits there and gives you a lot of card advantage. And this one gives you like advantage because it turns like your excess lands into like creatures, into flying creatures. Assuming like the Tatiova stays alive, like you just get like a churn, you get like a steady supply of like 3/3 flyers with all your lands. It's like a good way to like protect from flooding out, which tends to happen. Yeah, the OG Tatiova, one of the most yeah, she's really good. Really good in Commander. But, I mean, just like blue-green is just really insane in Commander, though. Like, it's like most of the quote-unquote competitive people play, like, blue-green decks in, like, Commander. But, yeah, we have to, like, look how easy it is to hit the 7 or more lands thing, and if it's going to be a slower format. But I could see this just taking over a game if you actually make like 1 or 2 creatures off this. Right. Is Tori Dominaria Fury Riders. 4 mana, 3/3. Vigilance Trample. Whenever Tori Dominaria Fury Rider attacks, all other attacking creatures you control get +1/+1 on its turn. Other red attacking creatures you control gain Trample until end of turn. Untap each other white attacking creature you control. One of the CD8 Cinder Commander. Yeah, I mean, Kinnon's pretty good. Like, if you look at Brawl or whatever, like, they have to keep banning Kinnon, or I think they banned Kinnon from, like, some Brawl tournaments and stuff. Like, they banned Kinnon from, like, Brawl tournaments. It's kind of overpowered there. Actually, one of the things I really like about pre-releases is looking at the cards and then nobody's come up with any kind of like rating for the cards yet. And then like I get to figure out if I'm good at like card evaluation or if I'm shit at card evaluation, because I've definitely had some pre-release pools where I like looked at my pool like 2 weeks later. I'm like, why did I put that card in the sideboard? Doesn't make any sense, right? Like, I think there was like a Return to Ravnica pre-release where I didn't, I was playing Rakdos at like the Return to Ravnica pre-release, and I had like a few of the Izzet Gates and stuff, and I did not play Cyclonic Rift on the splash, and I really regret it, because I think that was an insane splash card. I would assume I'm great at card development. I mean, I try. I think I'm much better at it than I was like 10 years ago. But I was like, I didn't think that card was worth splashing. Like, I just didn't end up not splashing anything, but I think in retrospect I would have splashed it. Especially in Sealed. But I just chose not to splash anything. So. Yeah, Tori Dominaria. Again, it's 4 mana 3/3. Yeah, this format has a lot of 4 mana 3/3s. Is Fury Rider usable? I mean, it's a 4 mana 3/3. Again, it wants you to go wide, and if you have, and you want to be playing, that should pay for itself for the pre-release. Yeah, if I still had it, I mean, no, I still had it. I just, you know what's hilarious, actually, Alex? I knew Cyclonic Rift was good, but I actually ended up trading 2 of my Cyclonic Rifts for like an Erebos. 'Cause I thought Erebos was really cool, and then I had no idea like Cyclonic Rift was gonna be like a $30 rare, the EDH. But I also think like back then like EDH wasn't a big deal. Yeah, so you had Go Wide and Tricks. Yep, because like +1/+1 to your team every time you attack is actually a really strong effect. And plus, like, it says all other creatures get +1/+1. That's a really good, that's actually like that's actually a very powerful effect to get as an attack trigger. And then, the other things like the trample and the untapping is also relevant because it means like untapping your white creatures means they can't like crack back as well because you have blockers. If you have other white creatures attacking, and like the red attacking creatures, trample means they can't like chump those red attacking creatures. They have to like, because like they can't chump it because of trample. It's kind of cool. Yeah, again, it's probably a card that's gonna be bad on the bad on the draw. So, and yeah, best of one, you're probably gonna hear a lot of people complaining about my 4-mana 3/3 sucks on defense and stuff, and that's just, it is, right? And here, this is a 5-mana 3/3 flyer. That's really bad stats if you don't actually have ways of, like, triggering this. But again, it's like the instant or sorcery matters and Go Wide. It does not die to Cast Down, yeah. I don't think Cast Down got reprinted, right? Like, I think the main removal is, like, the black, like, the main removal is, like, that, like, the black, 4-mana, destroy a creature. It was, like, 3-mana value or less, gain 3 life. Right. Yeah, this one. This is kinda like bake into a pie, sorta. Oh, you mean the black 1-mana spell? Okay, yeah. You mean Bone Splinters or Cut Down? Yeah. Oh, that's actually a really important thing to know. Is that these 3/3s don't die to Cut Down. It's funny because they have a total power toughness of 6. It's cool. They don't die as Flowstone Infusion, but they do die the Lightning Strike. These 3/3s for 4. This is like the small black removal spell that you want to have kicker for. Like, I guess honestly, I don't even know how insane this removal spell is going to be unless you're like heavy into like Instants of Sorcery. But like, I guess it could become like a, like, if you pay the kicker and you have like 2 Instants and Sorceries in your graveyard, then it's like 4-mana -4/-4, which is actually like I think that's actually reasonably playable. If it's like a 4-mana -4/-4, like I've played like Flatten. It's just like a little harder to cast, I guess, because it's blue. How do Bone Splinters play on the path? I don't know. Like, I swear I played, like, it's been in a few different formats that I've played in. Like, I think it was in Battle for Zendikar, right? And also I think they had like a very similar version to it in, I think, like I think it was in one of the core sets too, Bone Splitters, if I remember. It was in Battle for Zendikar, Modern Masters 2015, which I don't think I remember playing that card in Modern Masters 2015, but I've seen it. I was in Modern Masters 2017 also. Oh yeah, core set 2020. I don't know. It's kind of like one of those necessary. It's like, I think Bone Splinters are the type of cards you play either as a build around, like you have sacrifice fodder for it because you don't want to sacrifice a real card to your Bone Splinters because that's how you get 2 for 1. But like the value of things like Bone Splinters goes up if like there's a format that has a lot of enchantment based removal that leaves a creature in play. And from what I saw, all the white enchantment removals actually exile the creature from the battlefield, so like Bone Splinters is less good there. You know, because that was like the nice thing to do is like your opponent casts like pacifism on your creature, and then you just sack it to Bone Splinters, right? But like the white, all three of the white enchantments or whatever, like they exile. They don't leave the creature in play. Is there like a blue claustrophobia effect? I don't look. If there is one, like there might be a blue claustrophobia in the set. They don't always have like claustrophobia type effects in the sets. Like it just depends. No, I'm kind of thinking it isn't. There isn't like a blue claustrophobia effect. Yeah, it seems like they just want you to like bounce stuff, right? So this is basically repulse, or yeah, it's like, well, actually it's sorcery speed. I think repulse was instant too. Drag under, yeah, just drag under. But if you have the kicker, you get to gain some life. It's cool. This is an uncommon bounce spell. Yeah, it's kind of like the older sets where they expect you to use this as like your removal. You have to do things proactively. Essence Scatter. I think this is gonna be like the first time Essence Scatter has been legal and standard for a while too, because like it's been like a while since I've seen like Essence Scatter be legal and standard. Essence Scatter is usually okay, yeah. I mean, it depends on the speed of the format, right? Like, I thought Essence Scatter was okay in Ikoria because a lot of the mutate creatures. I mean, you can counter mutate creatures with it, and you can also just counter creatures with it. I think if Essence Scatter was bad in Ikoria, it's probably because blue and green were like weaker colors. And it's Todd Jordan. Essence Scatter will definitely kick gas against like a kicked 6-drop or something like that. Like imagine it was they play like the rare against you or something. This thing they pay 7 mana for this, and you like counter it, Essence Scatter and stuff. We were just like talking about like some cards for a little bit. You think it was the best blue common, and that's oh that's fair. Did you play the RCQ today? I forgot. I don't remember we played an RCQ. Not. The blue 2/2 of 1G kicker. Look. It feels like there's a lot of like things that happen whenever you cast an instant or sorcery, and there's a lot of attack triggers in this set too. But there's also like a defender archetype, but I'm not you be monitoring around one, then you're oh sorry to hear that. Yeah. That's kinda rough. Like I'm that's kinda rough. Hope the next tournament goes better for you. Yeah, we were just like looking at legendary uncommons because we are trying to figure out what like the archetypes do, and like looking at the legendary uncommons gives you a really good idea. You were a big Is a drafter. Yeah. There were some cards I think that were cool, like Lordrakey. Like I thought that was cool. But I never liked playing the stupid 4-mana 2/3 trample. You have to start studying Dominaria and won't likely play much Construct for us there, yeah. But You didn't play that? Okay. Was it like not good or something? I thought it was fun, but you didn't play it. You talking about the format like Pyroceratops? They made like a 2-mana version and it's a 1/2. They made a 2-mana version of Pyroceratops and it's a 1/2. It's like it's called Power Creep. They power creep the crap out of the Pyroceratops. I guess it's non-common, that's why. But the good Izidex are generally fat, yeah. Yeah, see, this is just better than Pyroceratops, but it's an uncommon. I'm trying to think what this blue 2/2 a green kicker that Todd Jordan is talking about. I have no idea what his music is. Do you mean like the green 2-drop that has blue kicker on it? Because I know there's like a green 2-drop that has blue kicker on it that lets you. It's basically like an organ. It's kind of like Organ Hoarder, right? With the 2/2. Like they learned that Organ Hoarder's too good. Blind Shaper Prodigy, yeah. I mean, I think it's good that they're trying to like calm down with like these 2-for-1 creatures that they keep printing in every set. Like, but there's also like 3 of them in this format, so right. Yeah, it's like basically I was like saying it's the Organ Hoarder set, except it's 2 colors and it doesn't put the cards in the graveyard. It just puts them on the bottom. Hmm. Yeah. Oh, I never knew that. Yeah, yeah. Exit strategy from driving cycling. Yeah, because usually cycling was the number one most contested deck archetype. Everybody's wanted to be in cycling. You made a joke for just Todd Dodger in the Discord. He didn't know. I think it was about Driders, right? It's probably about Driders. You believe even now all day not cut up. Oh, it's about basketball. I see. I see. Yeah, yeah. So we're going back to talking about the legendary. 5-mana 3/3 again, you have instants and sorcery to trigger it, and it's a 3/3. There's a ton of 3/3s in this format. I just noticed that. The Lightning Strike's probably going to be insanely good. Lightning Strike will probably be insanely good, and Destroy Evil is probably going to be shit because there's just not enough targets for it. You know, like Destroy Evil is probably going to be more of a sideboard card in this format. Because there's just not as many things that die to it. Like, I mean, you could probably main deck it in Best of One. You could probably main deck Destroy Evil in Best of One, but I don't know for sure. 4 blue drop flyer that looks like. Oh, I guess I missed that comment. Hmm. Oh, this one. Oh, hey, yeah, yeah, yeah. Oh, I see. Yeah. Yeah, actually, it's kind of close. It has a die, but it actually seems pretty good. This actually seems like a card I would like first pick and stuff. There. Like I used to play like Expedition Wizard or Expedition Diviner in like BFZ, and this is just like a better version of it. Doesn't even require to have like another wizard, right? By the look of Teamer, you're guessing this will be a format where Green-black is an asynergistic pile of good cards. There was something, I think there was like some Reddit thread that talked about like the archetypes in this format, but I don't know exactly how strongly people will be following it. Oh, you're talking about Urg. Oh, sorry, I misread that as blue, blue, red, green. I was like, oh, you really like Teamer or something. You just said blue twice. Is that why Urg spawn of Turg? Yeah. Is there even Self Mill in this format besides this? I mean, it is like a... It's like a 05 that's not great by itself, but you can... It doesn't seem like it's that hard to get it up to like a 3-5 or something. Depends. Erg, the very wet teamer, yeah. Also, like, this synergizes with, like, the graveyard recursion stuff, because you can put, like, creatures in the graveyard and then recur them, right? Like, if you have, like, if you're just sitting on, like, your raised dead or whatever, you can just, like, mill your creature in the graveyard. Assuming you don't have anything else better. I guess that's fair. Like, it just doesn't have... I mean, I think Sultai is always, like, the Dirtle colors, right? Or it feels like that's always, like, the Dirtle colors. Because, like, you could play Dirtle, Sultai decks in basically every format I've seen. Like, our Vohar Voldalian Desecrator, so we got 2 mana 1/2, so this is like a better version of, Merfolk Looter, except it's 2 colors and it's legendary. And, like, again, it also kind of goes in with the instant or sorcery theme. Just seeing, like, it feels like for whatever reason they really want to hammer home, like, there's some cards like, oh, instant or sorcery, instant or sorcery, instant or sorcery, or domain, 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 or whatever. Just like, okay. Yeah. Which kind of makes me think the blue decks are probably going to want to be like 10 creature, 13 instant and sorcery, or something like that in this format. Like, it doesn't matter what color pair it is. Like, if it's like, even if it's like blue white, you need to have a bunch of instant and sorcery triggers in blue white, like the blue white legendary and stuff, and you know, like 1/2/2 drop is dangerous. And it even lets you flash back. Like, again, it has synergy with itself. Because you can, like, discard a expensive sorcery, or you can discard a sorcery card you don't need right now. Like, say you're looking for a creature, you can discard a sorcery, and then when you don't need to do the looting anymore, you can just sack this to cast the instant or sorcery. It loots for free, it rebuys your removal, yeah. Oh, I think you're saying maybe because 2 mana 1/2 is dangerous for yourself because it won't really, you can't really get it into combat. No, I understand that. Like, but this is not a card you want to get this thing into combat at all. And then Zar Oyanen Scion of Frava. It's just 5 mana 4/4. So this is like one of the few cards that isn't like a 3/3 for 4. Whenever Zaryanan, Scion of Frava becomes tapped, put a +1/+1 counter on each creature you control with toughness less than the number of basic land types among lands you control. So there's like a domain, go wide, and list creature. Right? So you want domain so that this threshold for buffing, but this is actually kind of insane, right? Like, if you attack once and you have a bunch of 1/1s and you're playing 2 colors, they get... Like, they're gonna get +1/+1 on them. It's like, I think this card actually looks like it's kind of insane. I think this card looks kind of insane. I think about it. Like, you just need to have, I guess you need to have, like, a bunch of 1/1s or 2/2s. And if you have 2/2s, you're going to need to have domain enabled. You're going to need to have 3 or 4 land types. It's like an endless lord. Yeah, once you have 1/1s, I guess, or domain, so you can buff 2/2s or 3/3s. Right, because, like, if you have a 2/2 and you only have 2 land types, they won't get buffed. So I guess it's not as insane as I thought, but I feel like it's not that hard to, like, find, like... You'll probably be, I don't think it seems like it's going to be that hard to play, like, 3 land. I think, like, the main domain enabler, from what I could tell, was all those common duels having 2 land types on them. Right? Yeah. Yeah, you don't even need to be true. Yeah, that's true. You don't necessarily need to be that. But, like, often you can look at, like, artifacts. Are there any artifacts that let you... I guess this lets you tutor up a land. Actually, no. What is this? Sacrifice inscribed tablet. Reveal the top 5 card of the library. Put a land card from among them in your hand and the rest of the bottom of your library random work. So no, it doesn't let you get a specific land. Just... I mean, it's cheaper to activate than a expedition map, this inscribed tablet, but it can possibly whiff, but I guess if you whiff, you're just paying 2 mana to draw a card. I don't know. Bad Traveler's Amulet, yeah. You can get non-basics, but yeah, it feels like Bad Traveler's Amulet, I guess. And green usually has like the most card or land searchers, right? I wasn't going to comment about every card because I did. Oh, can you choose not to take one? I think so. Let me look. I mean, it's. Oh no, it's revealed. It is, yeah, if it was not revealed, then you could say no, but it kind of makes it worded like, you know. Yeah, I think it's mandatory because it's not like, because you have to reveal it. You have to reveal the top 5 cards of your library. So like, if there's a land there, you have to take it. Yeah, you have to take a land if it's there. It's not like if it was like a hidden zone where it said like look at the top 5 cards of your library, then then you could choose not to like show a land at them. Yeah. Okay. That's fair. That's a really important distinction to make with cards like that. Yeah. Yeah, it doesn't have the upside cycling later. You know. Well, there's Slimefoot Survey, which can actually get the duels because it just says search for land cards that each have a basic land type and put them on the battlefield tab. So it's like an enabler / payoff because it lets you put up to one of them on top of your library, the rest. So it doesn't actually draw you another card, it just makes it. It just lets you look at like potentially 3 or 4 cards. You can, get some selection in the next round. 5 mana is a lot, yeah. I think you could stack the triggers so that you can get a counter from like the cat guy and still buff with Rada if you wanted. So Cruise the Route was very fringe at 4, yeah. Yeah, it depends on how slow the format is, right? Wait, is this like, is this a 3-mana 4/3 trample with haste? It's kind of gross. It's like a 2-mana 3/2 trample, or it's a 4-mana, or sorry, it's a 3-mana 4/3 trample with haste. Oh my god, it's really good. This does not seem good for domain name labeling. Unless you're in the defender archetype. Right? Hmm. Only lets you look at the top 6. You think it sees constructed play? Oh, you mean like the iconoclast, yeah. This could definitely go in some kind of like a green-red aggro deck. Yeah, I'm just saying, I don't know if this Vine Wall is gonna be good compared to like Gatecreeper Vine, but I know there's some payoffs specifically for Defender in this format. I mean, there were payoffs for Defender and Return to Ravnica also. You think Vine Wall's quite good? Yeah. I guess one plus side is like this type of card lets you keep 2 landers with this with this in your hand, because either you get a land or you put 6 non-land at the bottom of your deck. So it's not that bad. Like, this would obviously be better, but well, this only is a basic land card or gate card, but because this actually guarantees you get the Gatecreeper Vine. But this only says maybe you get it, but like I guess I could definitely see somebody keeping a 2-lander with Vine Wall in it, and then bottoming a bunch of non-lands and going like, holy crap, I didn't draw another land. It's just RNG. You know. I mean, yeah, you can look at it as an O2 draw card. Just, you know, that's playable. Decent. No attacking that. Yeah, no attacking that will want it, yeah. I mean, there's defender payoffs in this set, right? Things that do damage or mill based on the number of defenders you have. So, that's another reason to play it, is for your defender synergy. Yeah, see, this is like one of your domain enablers. It costs 3 mana, and if you kick it, you get 2 1/1s. You pay 5 mana to get 2 1/1s in this effect. Like, I just don't remember, like, 3 mana put a single basic land being that good. Right? It's probably not that good. I don't know. Here, Springblock, how's it going? Oh, it's going good. I'm gonna run this Stream Raiders. I'm gonna run away just for like a little bit, because I gotta stretch. Actually, oh wait, no, never mind, that ended really fast. Alright, maybe we do one more Stream Raiders, and then see who's streaming. I'm probably not going to get through like the entire thing today. Just because like there's a lot. We were like, we're kind of like disorganized. Like the first part of the review was just looking at legendary uncommons, and then we just started talking about the different archetypes. And right now we're trying to figure out what domain enablers there are. Like, and like typically when I think of domain enabler, I'm thinking of like, you know, Skittering Surveyor or whatever equivalent there might be in the format. Hey, thank you for the raid, Mr. Metronome. I shake my fox at you. Fox shake. there aren't that many outside the common duels, yeah. Which makes me think it's going to be a little bit harder to pull off like domain, because you're probably not going to want to dilute like your mana base with like a ton of off-color basics. But I mean, you can if you want. I don't know exactly if you're going to, but thanks much for the raid. I appreciate it. We're just like looking at Dominaria United cards. People want to be ready for the pre-release and stuff. I mean, there's like some reasonable payout, but yeah, it looks like there was only like two. I guess the Vine Wall, the Survey, and the Scout the Wilderness in that one artifact that didn't seem that good. Hey, thank you much for the follow, Zeros even. I shake my fox at you. Thank you very much for just joining. My name is MercurioBlue. I've been here for like streaming on Twitch for like 5 years, and I usually stream Magic Limited, but people ask me to like comment on my opinions about the cards. Like, I think the uncommon that made me go, this seems really broken, is this one at uncommon. Any DMU hot takes? Yeah. I was just saying, like, I think a 3-mana 4/3 trample is kind of nuts, and I mean, the only thing I've really noticed is that I think there's a lot of like 4 and 5-mana 3/3s in the set, so Lightning Strike is probably going to be a top common in that regard. Like, I mean, it was already like good in like other sets, but like just all those, there's just so many like 4-mana 3/3s to like kill that like it makes it good, and it also means like Destroy Evil's probably like sideboard fodder, unless it's probably sideboard fodder unless you're playing best of, like, if you're playing best of one, maybe you play it if you have like basically no other interaction. But I also don't even know how prevalent enchantments are going to be necessarily. Like, there's like, is there really only 2 common enchantments? And like the rest of it, I mean, uncommons, like, you could still see a fair number of uncommons, but I wouldn't feel good about bringing in, like, enchantment hate seems like it would be so much better, and like main decking enchantment hate would be a lot better in like Theros Beyond Death or Neon Dynasty. It's actually Neon Dynasty, I mean, yeah, because those were both like enchantment heavy formats. I also think Bone Splinters is going to be worse in this format because there's no, from what I can tell, there's like no like enchantment that keeps a creature in play, and then like you can just like sack it later. Like the enchant, like this for example, this actually just removes it from the battlefield, the creature, so you can't like sack it to the Bone Splinters later. So there's also a fair number of token makers, so I think any edict effects are going to be really, really bad. Yeah, it's not as useful to kill Saga, but like, if there's like an edict effect in the format, I'm going to say it's not very good, because there's so many things that make 1/1 tokens. And like, unless like they specify the token, the edict effects as non-token permanent, but I'm not like 100% sure. Like, sometimes it's, I guess this one is like non-token, so I guess maybe it's okay there. This might actually be the only edict, right? I think this might be the only edict. No, I guess there's that there's that white creature that becomes Fleshbag Marauder if you play black. But that just says they could sack anything. They could sack a token. Yeah, Vanilla Sleeper. Yeah, it's like, it's kind of like Fleshbag Marauder, not good with blink effects because it's a kicker. So like Fleshbag Marauder is good when you like blink it or you recur it from the graveyard. Like, you unearth or something, unearth the Fleshbag Marauder, you get to make a sack again or make a sacrifice again. Hey, thanks for raiding the real killed up. I shake my fox to you. Thank you very much. Hope your stream went well. Big shout out to the real killed up. Alright. I might have to like continue this tomorrow, but we'll go for like another half hour or so, and then I'm gonna eat something. But because I've just been here for a while, but I do appreciate people sticking around. I'm sure there's like more. You made the top 600, nice. Congrats on the top 600. That's awesome. Yeah, because we're trying to like look at archetypes and figure out like top 5 common, uncommon. I can't go through like the entire common, uncommon thing by myself. Yeah, I believe every kicker I've seen is a multicolor card, so that's also going to change your evaluation of cards. Like, it looks like a lot of the cards you don't really want to necessarily play them without the kicker. Some of them are actually fine. Yeah, they're multicolor kicker. Like, some of them are fine if you don't have the kicker. Like that uncommon 3-2 trample for 2. That's actually like quite good, even without the kicker. But it's insane if you have the kicker. Right, but then there's like plenty of creatures where I don't think you get excited about a 2 mana 3/1. Right, or a 2 mana 2/2. Like you kinda need the kicker flexibility. So, yeah. It does I think this format might be like faster than original Dominaria, because I just remember original Dominaria was insanely slow. Like it just felt like glacially slow, honestly. You need the kickering and Tysis 3-color decks. I mean, maybe, but honestly, it's probably going to be more of a bonus for, I think it's probably going to be more of a bonus for being in those 2 colors, and then if you get, like, if you actually happen to be in Domain, if you happen to be in Domain, then it's going to be good. Yeah, the duels will be important for kickers. That probably, like, duels would probably go high, but honestly, I honestly think, like, if you're in a draft with people that are, like, fairly solid drafters, they would just be taking duels really highly anyways. You're just out of flex, just because you never know, like, maybe they want to splash or something, and then they just end up taking the duels. Anyways. I also don't know if there's, like, playable 1-drops in this format, because that also tells you if they think the format should be aggressive. If there's like playable 1-drop creatures. When I say like playable 1-drop creatures, I don't mean just like this is a 1-drop is in the format, but it needs to be like a 1-drop that's actively like good for 1 mana, right? Hmm. Wait, what is this? What? Oh, did I not look? That's why. Oh, I think I'm looking on Legendary. Oops, no, let's stop looking at Legendaries. Why is it still making me look at Legendaries? I don't get that. Oh, it doesn't DM. Okay. Hey, Social Sparkles, how's it going? Hope you're doing well. Oh, there we go. Yeah. That doesn't seem very good. Like a Battlefly Swarm. Hmm. It's like flying Typhoid Rat, but you have to pay 1 black to leave it up. It's kind of awkward. And then there's this 1/1. Hmm. This does not look like it's gonna line up very well with all the 1/1 tokens. Like, God forbid you play this and just trades for a 1/1 token. Seems bad. I think it probably would have been broken as getting +1/+1, right? Right? If it actually gained +1, because it's another creature, it'd probably just be too broken. It'd have to be like something like another elf, but then they don't want to make an elf tribal thing in this format. Yeah. This drawbridge does look pretty bad, because unless like Defender Tribal is very good. I can't imagine this is good, right? There was a card already called the Crowan Jailer. It was pretty bad. I mean, it also had the reason the Crowan Jailer was bad. It was also in a format that was insanely aggro. It was ridiculously aggro. So it's like, you know, 1 mana 1/1 and paying 2 mana to tap something is kind of, or 3 mana to tap something is actively kind of bad. Like, I also get that this kind of goes into like artifact synergy, but I don't think there's like an artifact synergy card besides like Karn and like Joyra. And List owns it, yeah. You know. It was like a 0/4. It would probably be really, really good as an 0/4, but Odo just doesn't seem good. Yeah. Yeah, Wall Sleeper and yeah, this looks really good. Well, it looks good. It's like, does anyone remember like I think it was like War something Phoenix or whatever, like the War Flame Phoenix from like the original Dominaria. It's kind of like that, right? The 1 mana instant seems good. Seeing Micromancer would be good, yeah. This could become a. Isn't this basically CSNID? Well, it's like more flexible than CSNID, but that's like this illusion that if you kick it, it's flying CSNID, basically. I guess that's also like a domain enabler. Warcry Phoenix, you're right. That's flying, yeah, so it's flying CSNID. If you have the green. Yeah, actually Micromancer got a lot better because of Kicker, right? Because you can just say like this is a card that's like better because of Kicker, because like the Kicker spells cost 1, and then you do it right. Yeah, it's funny. It's Dream Thrush and Season in 1 card, right? Yeah, I was like thinking Dream Thrush, right? Yeah, yeah. And Branch Rider. So there's a 1/1 with haste that you kick it. You pay 3 mana, or sorry, so you pay 4 mana total. It's a 3/3 haste. So it's like really similar to like Stronghold Cultist. Like it was like a 1/1 menace that you could kick it. You pay 3 to kick it, and it's like a. It just had 2 counter on it as a 3/3, but this also has fire breathing. It's like it's a mana sink. Maybe. I mean, it's a 1/1 haste. Stronghold Confessor. Yeah, yeah, that's right. Thanks. And this is a 1 mana 0/3. So this is like your defender payoff, by the way. You need to have this in play, and then you need to get like your crappy clockwork drawbridges and stuff, and then attack them with it. Because this is basically the meme card of the set. Like High Alert was like a meme card. Does anybody remember building like High Alert decks? They weren't good, but they were hilarious, right? Play my 0/4 wall, play a High Alert, attack you with it on turn 3. Whatever, like the 0/4 mill wall, and like attack them with it. High Alert worked on blocks. Oh, yeah, yeah. Oh, and you have to pay for it. Oh, that's actually bad. That seems bad, actually. You have to pay for it. to get like to make it attacks. So like High Alert was just like a passive and stuff, so that was kind of good. Hey, thanks for the raid, Nerdy Steve. I checked my Fox at you. Hope you're streaming well. Oh my god, we got so many raids in like the last 20 minutes. It's kind of great. Hope you're streaming well. Big shout out, Nerdy Steve. We're just like talking about comments. Hey, thanks for the follow, Ajalia. I appreciate it. Check my Fox at you. But for those of you that are joining, my name is MercurioBlue. I've been streaming on Twitch for 5 years, and mostly stream Magic drafts. Sometimes I play Magic Constructed, but I was doing some M1 Cat draft earlier, and then spent 6 hours at number 3, got to 2 per game. Oh wow, yeah, I guess that that's really hard, huh? That's really, really tough, because it just takes, like, yeah, like, because the MMR, when you're trying to grind the rank 1, it's really, really hard, but, I mean, rank 3 is pretty good, right? Pretty good, you know, good luck with getting, you know, rank 1. If you decide to, like, you know, continue. But, yeah, we're just talking about, like, some Dominaria stuff, like, we went over all the legendary uncommons, and then, we gotta go over more uncommons and stuff, but I don't want to go over every card, because it's just gonna take a really, really long time to go over every card and stuff, which is just, I don't think I want to do it. I'm probably gonna, like, leave, like, in maybe, like, an hour, I don't know, but I keep saying, like, a longer time each time, but eventually there will be less, like, there'll be, like, less raid hype, and then we can, like, just kind of slowly move to a new area. So, like, is the meme deck card thoughts on Walls deck? It hasn't looked great to me, TBH, Todd Jordan. I'm not, like, sold on it, TVH. It's not like the Return to Ravnica Defender deck. I think that I think that was actually, like, a kind of reasonable archetype there. You know. So this card's basically, it reminds me a lot of, like, Attended Knight, but it doesn't have First Strike. It might have been just printed for that commander, yeah. So it has Endless instead of First Strike. It's probably a card I'll just play. Like, this is probably playable as an instant. 2 mana deal 3 to a tapped creature. It's gonna be 2 land types. It's not exciting. Like, it has, like, this only works well on defense, right? Yeah, the enabler for the sack deck or the go wide deck. We get a. They made a strictly better Chrome Cat, Todd Jordan. It's strictly better than Chrome Cat, except there's a bad creature type, because it's not cat, it's a construct. Green removal spell. Instant speed. Can I hit Planeswalker? Seems fine. Yeah, it already got power crud, right? 3 mana 3/3. Sometimes you play a pre-combat for the menace. It's not bad. You probably want to be green black for this. Like, a 3/3 for 3 is fine, but nowadays in, like, limited, I think you really want to be green black for it. But you could actually play a 3/3 for 3 if you must. Right. I think Bone Splinters is, if you have enough tokens, I guess I can see this being good, right? And there's a lot of 1/1 token makers. But there's, like, I mentioned that there wasn't really, like, enchantment-based removal that keeps the creature in play. Use Bone Splinter as a sideboard card. I don't know if this is main deckable in Best of One. I'm guessing no. Probably not. This is... We don't get Journey to Nowhere anymore, it looks like. This is just 3 mana Journey to Nowhere, but... Actually, no, get Exile Planeswalkers. Actually, it's better. You can Exile Planeswalkers. That's kind of cool. Three mana 1/1. This is actually a really cool, really interesting design. It's a 1/1 Depth Toucher for 3, so it can trade in combat with stuff, or it can ramp you. But 3 mana ramper is usually kind of iffy. I don't know. Like it's definitely no Myconid. This card's probably not main deckable. Destroy Evil. It's more of a domain card, yeah. This is probably not main deckable. Trades with anything aggressive, yeah. I like that this card has synergy with other copies of itself. It's like milling you can mill like another copy of this and then use the activate ability to get something else back. I don't know if red Lash of Malice is gonna be good. I just remember Immolation not being good in Midnight Hunt, but this is an Immolation, obviously. The reason Immolation was kind of bad in Midnight Hunt is because it didn't trigger any of the instant or sorcery matter stuff. I wasn't gonna go over every common, because like it's just gonna take a really long time. This is basically the base removal spell, sort of reminds me of like Bake into a Pie, except it can hit blockers. Like, it has a restriction on the life gain, but you don't have to pay 2 mana to gain the life. But, like, Bake in the Pie was also in a format that had food synergy, so that's a little different, too. Like, sometimes you just wanted the food token around. A Power Creep Sure Strike is basically just better than Sure Strike as Scry 1. Though, I guess they... Like, Daring Escape is basically just a better version of Kindled Fury. Right? They made Goblin Rummager a 2/2 instead of a 3 mana 1/1. This is a 2 mana 2/2 instead of a 3 mana 1/1, but now it costs a mana. Yeah, that's a good point. Like, if you're gaining a little bit of life back in your defensive deck, it feels good, better, for sure. This is like this set's Festival Crasher. The Festival Crasher is a set, except it's a 1/2. And it also has the option of, you know, like if you spend the 5 on it, it's like a Mana War. Yeah. Yeah, they'll have mana sunk into them, yep. So like the kicker is like better, like it makes up for, yeah. Oh, it's probably gonna be great in your blue-red deck. Probably not so good in like mono-red or like non-blue decks, but like I can feel like I think I already ranted about that I felt like a lot of the kicker cards you really wanted to be in the color where you cast the kicker, but I mean kickers don't kick off in a limited. No, I'm saying like because the kicker costs on these cards are like off color, so like you really want to be like oh, that's a good point too. You can cast spells pre-combat to pump this and then use Enlist, tapping it. That's actually sick. That's kind of sick. Yeah, like if you cast like a removal spell pre-combat and then you can like go to attacks, tap the amplifier on like your 2/5 enlist creature or something so they can attack. It's fine. I don't know if I'm like super excited about it. I've cut Thrill of Possibility a fair amount. Like I think the formats where I like Thrill of Possibility are ones that have Madness or ones where it's like a draw to enabler and like Eldraine, because Thrill of Possibility is an Eldraine, right? And in that case, it's like, oh sure, I will amplifier that 1/3 barbarian, 3/4 trample, yeah. And one of those endless creatures. I agree. And I mean, it does seem like there's enough like instant and sorcery payoff cards. Like this could have like a real home even without the kicker, but like say you just didn't have, but I mean, because like there's instant and sorcery payoff in like other colors too besides like blue and red, I think. Or is it just blue? Maybe it's just blue. It might just be red blue. I almost feel like the enlist creatures that have more toughness are going to be better than the ones that have more power. Just because like being able to tap some like I think the issue is like if you have like a 2-power enlist creature, it's just gonna trade into like whatever they block with and stuff. But like if it's a 4, like you know what I mean? Like I think like a 0/4 enlist might be better than a 2/2 enlist or something in some cases. I don't know. 5 mana sorcery speed, deal 5 damage is probably one relevant. It's too bad. I mean, it's probably like a removal spell you only play if you need it or whatever, because I just remember like burn the ashes was not like a high pick card either. I didn't remember that card. Or reduce the ashes. Yeah. More toughness and power, I agree. Like, this is probably a playable card without the kicker, but I think you really want to have the kicker, because, like, 2 mana 2/2s just aren't all that great anymore. It's 5 mana, sorry, 4 mana active treason, but if you pay 7, it's like you get to punch your opponent with a creature and then sack it. It's a lot of mana. I guess maybe they think the format's gonna be slow. Yeah. This also seems kind of bad about the kicker, because the 3 mana 3/1 seems like not good. This is sort of like an enlist payoff too. Though the thing is, you would need to like attack with your enlist creature, make it have a lot of power, and then have it survive so you can cast this. So I don't know. I'm not sure. Four reach for 5. Yeah, 4/4 reach for 4. So divination that also comes with a discard, but you have to pay 2 more mana for it. It's kind of like field research actually, except like, well no, field research costs 6. Never mind to kick it out. Rip Giant Spider. Yeah, Giant Spider just got power creeped like crazy. It's not good anymore. Yeah, I'm probably gonna stop this like at 9. I think. Unless we get raided by Caleb or Word, then I'm kind of like obligated to keep streaming till like 7 a.m. or something crazy. I'm just kind of replaying Pyrexian Rager, which like this would probably be like unheard of like 7 years ago, and now like you look at Pyrexian Rager and you go like them reprinting this in like a reprinting it in like like a Theros level set, they'd be like, nah, this is like way too powerful, way too OP. But now that there's like people look at it and compare it to like Inspiring Overseer. It's like well, Inspiring Overseer felt like it's like it was super like it was like just a design mistake though, right? Because they're just like really trying to push that card, I guess like it's good enough to be in like standard. The Inspiring Overseer. So yeah, it's crazy. They made not Viscera, but Wart Eye Witch or something like a 3/2 for 3. It was like a 3/2 for 3, and now it's like a 2/2 for 2. Not Viscera. So I was thinking of like Wart Eye Witch or something. Not Viscera Seer. Yeah. Yeah, if you go into like a token strategy, sacrifice strategy, it's gonna be good at like setting up draws. This card does not seem great. It seems like a worse version of like a worse version of Valid Omnivore, but I guess you have the kicker, it does come with like one fodder for itself. Right? It's kinda like the flavor is like a Pyrexian Warhorde, you pay the 1 mana, it brings like something that it can eat or whatever. Two mana, 1/3, but so this only causing 1 to add a mana of any color is cool, but it also says activate only once each turn because they didn't want you to be able to like have completely free fixing, and also 2 mana, 1/3 is a pretty bad body. But yeah, this was also an end list. This is like an end list enabler, right? Because it just says whenever it becomes tapped, so you just want to tap this to your end lister to do stuff. 2 mana, 1/3 sucks, yeah. People are also talking about this card being better than like Read the Bones, and like it is an instant, which is cool. Like if you have like 4 land types when you're doing this, it's actually it's like Bitter Revelation. Yeah, it's like Bitter Revelation, right? If you have 4 land types. But it costs 1 less, which is a huge deal. Because Bitter Revelation costs 4, which is like really a lot. Oh, and also Bitter Revelation was sorcery. Oh shit, I thought that was an instant. Yeah, never mind. Like this is way better than Bitter Revelation. Yeah, it's an instant. You know. It puts stuff in your graveyard. It's cool. Multi-durable card, yeah. This is probably not main deckable. I would assume this is not main deckable to Smash the Dust. It seems kind of bad. I wish it was a 1/4. Like, a 4 mana 1/3 just doesn't seem good. Even if it comes with a card. Even if it comes with a tutor, it's just like, I'm just not sold on it. This sort of reminds me of like the wolf from like Shadows over Innistrad, but it's not like as broken as that wolf was, right? The there was like a 2/2 wolf. You could pay like 6 mana to give it +4/+4 until end of turn. Like it is only 4 mana, but it really depends on how easy it is to get domain, and it feels like the oh yeah, Quilled Wolf, but because looking at like the common enablers, I don't think I would want to play like that green 3-drop sorcery just to like make multicolor deck work. So I feel like you're gonna need to like take those dual lands kind of high if you're really into domain. And there's probably gonna be some situations where people will play like a totally off-color domain card if they sorry, totally off-color dual land if it gives them 2 more land types. But I could only see doing that if I had like 6 or 7 good domain pay or 6 or 7 domain payoffs. Preferably some of them are like good or like quality payoffs and stuff. Like, cause like there is a cost of paying like a functionally colorless land in your deck. So like you don't necessarily want to be like, oh, I'm gonna play like this double off color domain or dual land unless you have like enough payoffs to want to do it. Right? And then yeah, I think Alex was saying this is one of the better commons in the set. It's a standout common. Because it's like I mean, a 3/2 flyer for 4 is playable. It's not great, but it dying into another card is pretty cool. With card selection, also fills your graveyard again. Or fills your graveyard with 2 things when it dies. It's 2 cards in your graveyard when it dies, I mean. So, that's nice. Hmm. There's like a strictly better version of that 5-mana 2/2. Yeah, they can't ignore it. They need to kill it. And then when they do, you get a card. Or selection. Seems like kind of expensive, but sometimes these shade cards with flying can be like a win condition. Right? You just have to play around instant speed removal. Because that really sucks when you pump a bunch of mana in this and it dies. I usually think Thrill of Possibility and like Unexpected Windfall type cards are more like filler, though I guess Unexpected Windfall also has the benefit that it creates treasures if you have like treasure synergies, or if you it also enables fixing or ramp because Unexpected Windfall could let you play a 6 or 7 drop next turn. But I would consider like Thrill of Possibility and Cathartic Reunion to be pretty filler level in like draft or sealed. Maybe if you just really need the instant or sorcery trigger, I guess. I don't know. Or you need like a 23rd card to play it, but I'm not super excited about it. And this seems like a lot. Like, does it sort of like a variant on Witness of Tomorrow? I guess Witness of Tomorrow costs 4, the Scry one, but this is also a 2/5, which is kind of a bad stat line. This is like a 4-mana 2/5 versus 5-mana 3/4 flyer. Yeah, Thrill lacks synergy because there's no draw to or cast a spell on opponent's turn synergy. Like there was like the previous times like Thrill possibly was around, there was like draw 2 cards or draw 2 cards or, you know, play a spell on the opponent's turn. Timely Interference, they just made a power creep version of Fleeting Distraction. Right, this is just strictly better than Fleeting Distraction. And it's like a really weird area of like if you kick it, it's like a really weird variant of academic dispute. It also shrinks the guy or shrinks the creature before it has a block, so maybe that makes like the block better. Like say you have a 3/3 and your opponent has a 3/3 and you like kick timely interference. It's also like a cantrip for the instant and sorcery matter thing. Like I was saying earlier, with like instant and sorcery matters cards, you need to either have you need to have sorceries that make a creature like token makers, or you need to have like cantrips. Otherwise, you're just gonna like run out of gas. Because you can't just like cast instants and sorceries over and over again just for like the triggers. You need to also have some kind of like board state developed. Hey there, Papa Taco, how's it going? Oh, yeah, we've been talking about like these cards for like the last I guess almost 2 hours, like in kind of informal way, but it's there's actually been some like good discussion. There's been like reasonable discussions. Yeah, I was saying earlier, this is basically drag down, except if you kick it, you also gain life, which is also like relevant. Like when you're like getting beat up and stuff early on, like gaining life is not bad. This card actually seems sorta exciting if you are in the instant sorcery payoff deck, because it's like not only is it is basically better than Cryptic Serpent, right? It's just strictly better than Cryptic Serpent. No, I guess Serpent was a 6/5, but okay, never mind. It's not strictly better. And we were talking about this, so this is like a 2 mana -2 -2, but if you're in the instant and sorcery deck, it's like a 4 mana -4 -4 -5 -5. And this card's also really good. Vine Shaper Prodigy. There's some really good creature. Yeah, Ward 2 could definitely be relevant, but yeah, this was really good because it's basically this set's like Organ Hoarder type card. But I guess there was also a flyer that kind of does like an Organ Hoarder payoff. This is Soul Salvage, except it gives you like a little bit of life. Well, I guess it's Raised Dead, but if you have like the kicker, it's kind of like Soul Salvage. But not only does it gain you life, it says you can choose a target permanent, so that could be like your Planeswalker or something, or your Saga. This has potential to be really good in Black Green. But I don't know how much you want to play this just for the black side. Probably not so much. Like, so the thing with like Raised Dead effects is I don't think like they're usually good enough to like include by themselves unless like you really want to have like a bomb creature and or self mill. Because I don't want to pay like an extra black mana for like a creature that already died, like because I don't even know like you might not even have like anything in the graveyard to like get back. So it's just like sitting in your hand like 2 copies of Soul Salvage when it could have been like a creature or removal spell is kind of awkward. But I mean, I guess that's like. So that's like why I think it's really important. Like you really need to get like get the 2 cards from it, and then the best way to enable getting 2 cards from like an Urborg repossession or whatever is to have self mill, right? They made a better version of the 1/3 from Dominaria, Vodalian Arcanist or whatever. Because it not only does this make Vodalian Arcanist, yeah, this makes blue mana, and you can also spend it on a kick spell as well. So that's cool. It's like the blue ramp type card that conditional ramp card. This is mostly, I think, going to be a better version of the Abomination from Dominaria, the whatever, the 6 mana 5/5. And again, if you have self mill, it gets better. Fear Abomination. Yeah, thanks. You're really good with card names. I'm just bad with card names because I'm like kind of getting sleepy, I guess. Yeah, main deck about Artifact Hate. It's also an endless creature. I feel like this is supposed to be a throwback to Gorilla Shaman or something, or I don't know, but filler top end. Are you talking about yeah, like you don't get excited about this card, but like if you had like a ton of self mill, you could play it. Like I've played Hero Abomination. It's not exciting, but it feels like this is probably going to trade with something. It's just it feels bad when it trades for like a 4-drop removal spell, but like if you're only paying like 5 or 4 for this, it's good, right? Like if you're paying 5 for this, that's actually really great. 5 mana, 5/5 Death Touch. It's not like broken, but by limited standards, I think it's good. This is I'm not really sure how it. So this is like a. So at best, this is like a 3 mana 4/6, which is kind of disgusting, but it's probably more likely a 4 mana 4/6. Yeah, 4 mana 4/6. 5 mana 4/6 is still playable. Like 6 mana 4/6 is not good though. I didn't go over every common because I feel like if I did, this would take an absurdly long time. But because I go back, it's probably 4 mana. It's probably 5 mana 4/6 unless like you're dedicated to it. You're like really, really dedicated to the domain, then you could see it being a 4 or 3. But you assume a 5 mana 4/6, yeah. Maybe we could go over like a couple commons in the next 15 minutes or so. Or not commons, like uncommons. Yeah. We already talked about the legendaries. This is kind of a cool design. It's like I mean, like a 3 mana 1/3 is not good, but like enlist, like and like this could actually be like this is basically like it could be like a 2-for-1, right? Based on like the board state when you attack with it, right? And you can also like do it with pump spells to potentially even do more damage. You can also like maybe if you make it really big, you could just aim the death damage at the opponent's face, right? Kind of cool. Obviously, this card seems bad when you're on the defense. Yeah, we were talking about that. There's a lot of cards that in this set that have attack triggers, and those cards are going to be like the enlist creatures and all the attack trigger cards are going to be kind of shitty on the blocks, but or on the draw. I mean, are going to be like much worse on the draw, but like on the play, it's probably going to be really, really strong for sure. Yeah, Claiming Skyrider, we said very good. We said this card's gonna be very good. Seems like okay. I do like that you can sacrifice a creature and get it back, but the thing is, since there's no enchantments that lock down the creature, it's like worse because you can't just like sack a creature that has like claustrophobia on it to this and then get it back. But I do like the idea of like sacking a creature and getting it back. Like if that was a thing, I don't know, maybe ETB, like sack like your Vine Seer or whatever, but then you'd be playing 3 colors. Sack your Phyrexian Rager, and then just get it back and then replay it. This is like one of the Defender payoffs, but I haven't been sold on the Defender payoffs yet. I don't know if this is probably better than Doorkeeper, but I'm not sure. You like Warhost Frenzy? What is that? Sack your cult conscript. Yeah, that's true. Alright, I should have closed it right there. Warhouse. Ooh, yeah, this is basically... Oh, wow. That's actually a really cool design. Yeah, again, it kind of goes into the flavor of black wanting creatures to die. Because, like, you could do this in response to, like, a board wipe, for example. Like, say your opponent has a board wipe, and you're like, okay, spend 4 mana, do this. It's also just good on, like, attacks, you know? Because your opponents are probably gonna, like, trade with stuff you have, and then also getting a card off of it. Like, it makes your tokens not terrible late game, because I think we had said that a lot of the creatures seem to like X3s. So like 1/1s becoming 3/1s until end of turn will trade for stuff, likely. Will like likely trade for at least one thing, and then you're also getting a card when that stuff dies. Or your creature dies, so it's like really, really cool. Like, I mean, yes, you could play this in your red-white aggro deck, but again, I feel like there's gonna be a card that, like, you really, if you want to be, like, black-red and try to get this on the wheel or something, if you're in black-red, or try to get it late. I thought this was, like, War Leader's Helix, but it's not quite, because it doesn't go any target. It only goes creature or planeswalker. But this is a card you would play without, like, the kicker. It's like dealing 4 damage for 3, or sorry, dealing 4 damage for 3 to a creature or planeswalker is actually good. What happened to Magma? I guess Magma was any permanent, right? I guess non-land permanent, never mind. Is that a better body than Magma? Because a 5/4 versus 4/4. Yeah, they made Frost Giant or where that thing. Frost Strider. Berg Strider. That's what I was thinking. Berg Strider with Ward 2. Okay. Seems like a very good uncommon. I mean, it's an uncommon, yeah. It seems like a lot of mana to kick it. Like 7 mana, but I mean, making a clone on top of your 3/2 is actually not terrible, right? So it's like, it's a filler creature, you play it on 3, but if you get late game, like green-blue decks are probably gonna have a lot of ramp. Like copying like your 5/5 with this seems kind of gross. Whatever. It's 4/4 flyer for 6 with a lot of instant and sorcery payoffs. I like. This is probably bad. I just don't remember Master of the Way being great in KTK. I don't remember Master of the Way. I guess that was sorcery speed though. But this is like better because it's an instant. There's enough legendaries, this might actually be good. Like, it's just strictly better than the other thing, like the whatever the Vanquisher's Axe or whatever. Even if you're equipping it with non-legendary power creep. Cause that there is already like a common equipment that does like a similar thing, except it's only +2/+0 and doesn't have this text. Wait, what is this music? Oh my god. It's like gone to the point where I'm just gonna listen to random stuff. Random stuff. I like these night things, but that's because I like when I played Revised, like I thought it was cool. Like I thought Black Knight and White Knight were really cool. Except this one has Menace and not First Strike. Okay, so I guess it's not like the same. Boo, my OCD does not like that this one has Menace. They made 3-mana Growth Spiral that has Scry 2 on it. It's Growth Spiral that has Scry 2 on it, costs 1 more. I mean, this looks like. I mean, I like the name on this card. I do like that it's a throwback to Visions and Mirage. Like they talk about a love song of Night and Day in those sets, but that also doesn't seem. That seems more like a multiplayer card. I guess like you just go to like step 2 most of the time, unless like you really need like the 2 cards, but then you're also giving them cards. I don't know. I mean, you can kind of look at this as like a. It's kind of like a 3/3 for 3. You can make like a 2/2 flyer and then put a 1/1 counter on something else for like 3 mana. I mean, it's like fine. This doesn't seem super exciting. It's like a 2/2 flyer that puts a 1/1 counter on something else for 3. That's how I would look at it. And yes, you can use a draw if you really need it. Like if you just absolutely need an answer to something, you give your opponent more cards too. Yeah, this is Gravedigger, except oh, it's a 2/3 and it's a lifelinker. Holy shit! Is it like Gravedigger except as an uncommon? It's 2 colors and it's 2 lifelink. That's really really insane. Strength of the Coalition. Ooh, yeah, yeah. Yeah. Goes really well with like the go wide strategy. Right? Like I remember Wild Onslaught was playable. And this also like this can be better than Wild Onslaught because it's also like if Wild Onslaught had like the late game potential of like paying 8 mana to like kind of win the game if you had like a reasonable board state. Sure. Right? But yeah, like this could be really powerful in your go wide deck. Like you want to play it just for like the 1 mana +2/+2, but right. They made Raise the Alarm uncommon, but it puts body in the graveyard when this dies. So it's like a little bit better than that in that case. Because you can get this back with like your Urborg whatever thingy. You get it back. But if you had like normal Raise the Alarm, it would be like tokens that don't go away. Do I tail? Is that like the 1 mana fight spell? Or something like the 1 mana. Let me look. You calls a blanket, yeah, that's true. I didn't see any like blink effects though, as far as I could tell. Oh, it was a 1 mana fight spell at instant speed, and then I don't know, because like, so you have to do that sorcery speed to get the +1/+1, right? Or actually, yeah, during your main phase, that's when that would be basically sorcery speed. Well, I guess no. I guess like, huh? It's not exactly sorcery speed because like if your opponent did something in your main phase, like say, okay, I cast lightning strike on your main phase, you could be like tail swipe in response, give my guy +1/+1. Oh, that's actually gonna. This might actually cause some weird like decision issues of timing about like removal, right? But I mean, it isn't uncommon too, so it's not like you're gonna have to play around with it all. But you might actually want to be like, I mean, a lot of times people are just using burn spells during like after declare attackers or begin combat anyway, so it's not that hard to play around it. But I guess you know, yeah, you can fight something off EOT. Yeah, yeah, that's fair. But this is definitely gonna cause some thinking about when you use removal, right? But though I think most of the time people are still going to be either doing it on their turn or doing it during like combat or whatever, and then just want to get the +1/+1. You want to get the +1/+1 trigger then, if that's the case, right? So this is like a 5/6 flyer for 7. If you kick it right, that's a really big flyer. There's like 2 spells that either damage or destroy a tap creature in the set. Like there's one of them's a common, right, with domain. So that means maybe vigilance or like untapping is better. Like if there's a trick that untaps your creature, because you can do it in response. Four mana resurrection that makes like this is 4 mana reanimate, right? That's a lot of mana. 4 mana reanimate. That's a lot. Using the white Celestia flyer with fits its color, yeah, because like it like Selesnya probably wants to be like go wide, not make one guy large. Alright, I think I'm just gonna end stream regulars there. We're just gonna slowly. Let me just see if there's anything really close that wasn't a legend that we talked about. Oh, here, this is also like a domain enabler, right? This is a domain enabler because you kick it, you get to. I mean, it doesn't put the land into play, but I also like the design on this because it's just like it's not only like a domain enabler, it's also like a flood protection because you just start sacking lands late game. Cool. It's modal removal spell. Like you probably want to be green black, but you can bring it in from the sideboard if you are just green, right? This is like a domain payoff. This one reminds me of like there was like some 5 mana. I think there was like some 5 mana creature in like Modern Horizons 2 that was like a 0/0, but you put 2 +1/+1 counters on it for each land type you controlled as you controlled it, or no, it was a converge actually. It actually went off colors of mana. Yeah, actually, like I guess that's different. Like converge is different from domain because like domain just means like, oh, do you have lands with lots of land types in play? Like otherwise, but like converge actually wants you to like pay mana to do all that stuff because like you have to actually pay like 5. So like most of the really good converge cards cost like 5 mana because you need to pay like 5 for it, right? You know. Oh, this is also a domain enabler because it puts a land card into play. Basically, you can search for a basic land card. So it actually looks like there's a fair number of domain enabler. The stats just don't cut it. Yeah, I think you need to be going pretty deep on domain because like you're not going to be happy about 5 mana 4/4 and like a 5 mana 6/6 isn't even that exciting nowadays. It's funny. You really want it to be like an 8/8 or a 10/10. It doesn't have any evasion either, which is awkward. No evasion. This is basically like a modal spell. Like it either goes into like your instant and sorcery spell archetype, but it also goes into like your smash them to red green whatever deck. ETB life gain and draw card. We're talking, yeah. No, this was the comment. This was like the uncommon I thought was really good. Like I could see this card being played in like standard and stuff. Because I know it looks good to me, but maybe it's just seem good. Oh, there's a defender payoff. It's funny. So by itself, it's a 0/3 that creates a 1/1 bird creature, but you have like more defenders. It also like it has the advantage that it like it doesn't matter like if you play this early, right? Because it'll let you get more birds if you play defenders later. If this is in play. Have I noticed that like most of the defender cards seem to have exactly like 3 toughness? Yeah, the Yavimaya. Like, a lot of defenders don't actually have that much health, which is strange, because if I remember correctly in, like, I think in Iconic Masters or something like that, or one of those other sets where they had, like, Defender Tribal as a theme, they just, like, the walls actually had, like, way more toughness, but, like, in this format, it feels like the walls are, like, are exactly, like, are, like, X3s, which is kind of, like, that kind of like I think there was a 2/4 wall too, but there was like a 3 mana 2/4 wall, but or 2/4 defender, but it feels like a lot of defenders are kind of like lower on toughness maybe because they didn't want there to be like these board stalls, but that means you need the defenders to like make up for not being able to attack somewhere else, right? Because usually the reason you play creatures that don't attack is because they have really high stats compared to like other creatures that you could play. Like if you're used to like playing Bramble Barrier, not Bramble Barrier, but like Jungle Barrier. Yeah, Jungle Barrier. Like if your opponent plays that card, you just kind of go. I don't know how I'm attacking through that. Like Jungle Barrier or Carbon Keratin is also another example. Right? It just sits there, and you're like, okay, so I have all these like 3/2s and whatever, and 3/3s are just kind of not doing anything anymore because my opponent has like a Carbon Keratin, a Jungle Barrier. Is there anything else that was like super exciting? Let me just go back really quickly. This is a lot of mana, 5 mana. Like, I don't know, like, again, this is probably, like, a heavy domain payoff card. Like, the domain... So, like, I think the domain decks are also going to be, like, ramp decks, right? Because all the domain enablers, like, besides, like, the duels, but, like, using, like, the domain enablers that are, like, basic land tutors, those are, like, going to put more lands into play for you to, like, work with. So, like, I guess this is something that helps you when you're flooding because it's a like what you really want when you're like ramping is like more threats, right? Because that's like a downside of having cards dedicated to ramp. Like if you're playing like 3 mana land tutors or whatever, then you're not playing like creatures or like game ending bombs or drawing game ending bombs or whatever, and then like right? You have that risk of like falling behind, but like maybe it's like a mana sink, but I mean it's a mana sink, right? Hmm. This doesn't seem. I guess it's probably this is probably meant more for constructed than it is for like drafts. But there's actually a fair number of yeah, there's a fair number of like 1 or 2 mana instants and sorceries, right? And like I guess the advantage of this is that if you have a 2 mana instant or sorcery in your hand and you go for like the first step of the founding the third path, it lets you cast it without like losing tempo because this is like otherwise like this is basically you spent 2 mana and you didn't like put anything on the board, but this could give you like the option of like you know casting an instant sorcery the same turn and then also milling yourself for like your recursion things and then also like just casting the instant or sorcery card from your graveyard. Like if you milled like a really good removal, they have a good heuristic for land counts and ramp decks. Can you turn to I mean, oh yeah, actually with Tolarian Kraken, this does seem kind of sick if you have like a very instant or sorcery. Yeah, because this would put like the step one is gonna put an instant or sorcery in your graveyard, and this might put in like two or maybe even 3 instances, depending on how. Like we need to get like Sierkovitz involved to like know what instant and sorcery count is like the ideal number for things like this. Because I couldn't tell you, but I mean, yeah, that is true that like Thrill has synergy with Tolarian Kraken also because not only does it put an instant and sorcery in the graveyard, you can also discard an instant and sorcery, so like you're getting like extra instant and sorcery in your graveyard. So yeah. So they've had like this type of card before. I think it was like from Corset 2021 there was like a 04 05 leech or something like that, but then it went off like power. I think not like mana value, right? I'm trying to figure out what it was. Oh, Carry On Grub. Yeah. Like a 05. And this is an XX. So obviously you wouldn't cast this when I mean you wouldn't cast this if you have like a empty graveyard because it just dies. Or if your only card in your graveyard is land, it dies. But I didn't see any like graveyard hate. Yeah, Carry On Grub. I didn't see any graveyard hate in this format, so like at least you don't have to worry about this like randomly getting killed because like your opponent exiled your graveyard, right? This card also seems really good if you're in blue black, because like if you putting a permanent on the bottom of your owner's library is often like way better than putting it in the graveyard because it means they can't recur the card. It does mean they could tutor the card out of their deck, or if they have shuffling, they could potentially draw it again, but um this also cannot save your own stuff because it says like a creature or planeswalker you don't control. Right. card seems kind of bad. I guess it depends on how good you are at getting sacrifices. But like the way it's worded is that it can only ever get one counter per turn. Because it only triggers once a turn, and it says like even if like multiple creatures die, you only get one counter. So it's like it's I don't know. It's definitely not as scary as like some of these versions of the card they've had before that like if anybody's familiar with like I think like the algae Gariel, but I guess that also had Shroud, which is why. Right. I forgot a lot. I think Ben Stark was like the one that was calling algae Gariel the truth or something like that, and then I think they made like a scavenger Drake, but people tended not to like that card. Yeah, like the black version because it doesn't have Shroud. So it tended to like die, and it wasn't like great. But anyways, I have been here almost 7 hours. I will like highlight the part of the stream where I started talking about the cards, and I'll put it on Discord. But thanks everyone like hanging out here. We went through like a really quick overview. When I say quick overview, I mean like 2.5 hour overview of commons and uncommons, and got chat feedback, and it was pretty great. But yeah, I think it was a really helpful discussion for me also, and I really enjoyed getting to hear other people's thoughts and stuff. I wish I could have made it a little bit more organized, but it wasn't. It also wasn't something I planned on doing. I was probably originally I was probably just going to. I think I was just gonna do like 2 drafts and then maybe play some Storybook Brawl and then quit for the day. But then we just like started talking about Magic cards for 2.5 hours, which actually was a lot of fun. I think I enjoyed that. Getting to talk about it. Like I just didn't want to. I just hadn't planned on doing a set review because like the last time I did like a common and uncommon set review was almost 6. Hey, thanks for the bits, Orange Knight OC. I checked my Fox at you. Appreciate it. Yeah. I'll probably go over like the rares tomorrow. It'll be a lot faster, and I don't know if I'll go over every rare, but I could like talk about some of the rares. I just felt like talking about the commons and uncommons was